I don't know if this is true, but there's a report that you just recently welcomed twins.
Damn, you know everything.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
I did.
Congratulations.
Yep. And one's white, one's black.
Nah,
Crazy.
man, stop.
Swear to God, one's got blue eyes. Cause you can tell by the nipples and the balls. One's got blue eyes, got these pink balls, these pink nipples. The other one, brown eyes, brown balls, brown nipples. I said, dang, I had twins and one's black and one's white.
Did you think you was going to be a father again? Or did you want to become a father again?
That's a layered question. Didn't think I wanted to be a father again, but, and not have a relationship with my kids, I was like, you know, I hate that thing like, I'm going to do it right this time because I didn't do it wrong.
You don't think you did it wrong the first time?
I don't think I did it wrong the first time. I was very conscious of how I spoke to them, how we disciplined them, how I never put them down. If all the sports and stuff they played, I was always like, I was the fun dad.
Right.
You know, I was like, it's not a big deal if you lose. I was the fun dad. And I was coaching some of their teams and stuff. So I don't say I did it wrong, but it's twofold. I didn't see myself being a dad, but I think not having a relationship with my kids, you know, the twins now, they're just awesome. Right. They're awesome. They're in that idolizing dad stage.
Right.
They're young.
You like that.
They're young. They're like 9, 10 months. It just happened. So, yeah, and that's the same thing. That's what sucks too, is my kids, they don't know them.
Right.
They don't have a relationship with them. And I don't want to meet them when they're 4 or 5.
Right.
You know? So that sucks too.
Over the last couple of years, last couple of months, I've seen you post a lot of stuff. You've gone through something publicly. You went through a public divorce. How hard was that for you, considering that was someone that you had loved, you have kids with? How hard was that for you to see that play out publicly?
Dude, you waste no time.
Yeah, we
I thought we'd start slowly.
We gonna get
right in.
Yeah, we gonna get to there.
It's not something I ever thought would happen, like a public divorce.
Yeah.
It's weird because when I wanted the divorce, I called her. I thought we was gonna be cool, and we both said like, let's be an example of how a divorce should be. Doesn't have to be like throwing stones. And I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, well, I do know what happened, but
what happened?
I know how it got public because I filed.
Okay.
And I called her. I said, look, I don't want you to be blindsided. There's going to be a process server coming because we had a house in Ohio and a house in California.
Okay.
But we voted in Ohio.
Right.
We paid taxes in Ohio. So I filed in Ohio.
Right.
And I filed in a small country town where they're used to like plumbers and waitresses getting a divorce.
It'll never get out.
Oh, never getting out. And that wasn't the goal to get out.
Right.
So it just, when I went and met with the lawyer and said, I want a divorce. And she goes, okay, they got to submit all this paperwork. And there's only 2 judges in this town. So you're at the mercy of them.
Right.
So when I left, I thought I just got to not come home for a couple weeks because you got to be able to homestead and things like that. And then it took like 2 months. So I kept coming with these goofy reasons why I couldn't come home. Like, yeah, we're going to add a show on Monday and all this other stuff. And I'm going to do a podcast and never came out. I'm just stalling, right? I literally come to Laura, so I'm out of excuses. I'm going to have to tell her. And the day I told her, the next day.
Oh, you were stalling her because she was in Ohio. Correct?
No, she was in California.
She was in California.
I'm in Ohio, but I'm on the road every weekend.
Right.
So it was during COVID.
Okay.
So all the comedy clubs were half full.
Right.
And we were adding shows on Monday, but then I was doing like Wednesday through Monday at the comedy clubs. And then finally the paperwork came in and my lawyer called me and says, they're on the way to go serve her. And I went, oh. So I was like, I'm going to call her. I don't want her to get blindsided. I don't want my son to answer the door or anything like that. So I called her. I said, look, I'm not happy. I want a divorce. And then she was like, she was cool. And then I said, look, I don't want somebody knocking on the door to surprise you because the process server's on the way. She goes, wait a minute, you've already met with a lawyer? And that's when everything flipped. I go, all right. I got the Ring camera on my phone. The process server's knocking. I see her knocking. And I go, somebody's at the door. She goes, it's Amazon. I was like, oh, this ain't gonna go well. And then she never answered the door. So then the next day we're on the phone. We're still being cordial, everything. I thought we was cool. The next day I'm in Naples, Florida. I get off stage after the first show. I look at my phone. That's when TMZ got a hold of it. And that's when it said she filed for divorce against me and in LA County. I go, wait a minute. We don't live in LA. We lived in the Bay.
Right.
So while she's talking to me, it's all fair in love and war. I stalled.
Right.
I'm lying. And then she went down and she filed against me in LA. To this day, I don't know why, unless she wanted to play on social media because we didn't live there.
Right.
I didn't understand that play. But that's what TMZ got a hold of it.
Okay.
And that's when the narrative came out that she left me, and then everything started to come out.
Well, but I thought you had a conversation. Had you had a conversation leading up to you actually filing? Had there been some conversation, or had there been something going on in the marriage that you wanted out?
I think I was good at compartmentalizing things.
Okay.
I think she was too. So, as a comedian, we can leave. So if things are getting rough at the house or you're just not happy, you can go on the road.
Right.
And you just come back. So I was very good at compartmentalizing things. So then when the TMZ happened, my lawyer was like, yo, you got a show? I got another one. Because I'm calling her because my phone started to blow up.
Right.
And she goes, you can't go on stage tonight. I said, I got another show in like 30 minutes.
Right.
And she goes, look, we're worried a process server's on the way to serve you. I said, well, what does that mean? She goes, well, if you get served, chances are the divorce will go down in California. California's a 50-50 state, which means she can get half your money for the rest of your life. I said, say less, this show's over.
Hold on, but you got people pay good money to see you perform, Gary. How you?
I went up.
Okay.
But let me tell you what I did. I went up. I couldn't have been any farther back on that stage because I don't know if a process server's coming. So I'm up against the wall.
Right.
And my head's on the swivel the whole time. If anybody got up to go to the bathroom, I go, what are you doing, player? So then I got off. And then I was on the run for like 4 months. So this is March of 2021.
Right.
We finally got it. Man, she's avoiding a process server. I'm avoiding a process server. It's a cat and mouse game. And I'm researching. So what I found out was you can't. Well, in my line of work, the two most common places at the airport and on stage.
Right, correct.
And we've seen people get served on stage before.
Correct.
So I had security with me. They sit in the front row at my shows, so nobody would know I had somebody planning. And I said, nobody can come up. Nobody can come up. And then I would never fly into the studio I was performing in.
Correct.
So after everything hit the fan, the next week I was in Baltimore. I flew into Pittsburgh, drove my down to Baltimore. And at one point I stopped at a Starbucks and this one brother was like, oh, Gary Owen. He was chasing me around Starbucks. He's like, man, I just want a picture. I said, dude, I can't help you today. And I don't know if he was a fan or a process server.
Right.
And my opener was in the car. I said, start the car. We jumped in like Bo and Luke Duke, taking off. The last thing I remember is this brother outside of Starbucks doing this. So I'm just on the run. I hemmed up at the Four Seasons in Baltimore for 2.5 weeks. Never left my room. I was under Mohammed Shabazz. Figured nobody's gonna know that's me. They ain't looking for no Mohammed Shabazz.
Nah.
And my opener was, he was at the Renaissance where they thought I was gonna stay at. Right. So he was registered under my name because my schedule's on the internet.
Right.
So there was a lot of cat and mouse, man. At one point I was in Miami at the Aloft by the airport, hemmed up for a week. I didn't know that's like a sex trafficking hotel.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sitting here going to the lobby like, something's not right here.
You worried about divorce and you might be get caught up in that.
Yeah. So I'm going, I had to call my boy. I said, hey man, I'm at the Aloft. Something's wrong here. He's like, this is kind of seedy. He was like, you don't know what that is? That's a sex trafficking hotel. I said, shut up. So I'm like, I didn't know.
Right.
So then at one point I called an old high school friend. I was staying at his house in West Virginia. I'm paying cash everywhere. I ain't on social media.
Right.
I'm off, changed my cell phone number. I'm off the grid. And we couldn't get her either. I was like, man, she's hard to get. And the processor kept calling me saying, man, we can't get her. So I said, screw it. 24/7 surveillance on the house. I said, we got to get her served, man. Right. And so I got this bill for like $25,000 from the process server. I was like, you ain't even served her yet. Yeah. And so what I did, I hired an outside process server from Cincinnati. Me and her flew from Cincinnati to Sacramento. We get to Sacramento, we drive over. I still got the gate to the neighborhood. I still got the parking garage. Go through the neighborhood. I read the parking garage raises up. She's not there. I said, I know her. She's at the grocery store or the mall. And so sure enough, she's pulling out of the Safeway parking lot. I said, no freaking way, that's her. So now we're far on the highway, and she goes, you gotta get down, she can see you. I was like, so I hop in the back seat, and I'm riding like this. I don't know where we're going. So then she stopped She goes to Panera Bread, shouts out to Panera, and she got stuck in the drive-thru. So she got a car in front of her, car behind her.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know where we're at. Like, I'm in the back seat.
Right.
And the process server's like, it's go time. I said, go? This ain't Jason Bourne. What we doing? He's giving us some papers. And so she gets up to her, and right when she's placing her order, this process server was like just next to her car. She just stood up. And she was like, you're served. I was like, oh! And I'm on the passenger side. She don't see I'm filming her.
Right.
So we got her, and I bought a one-way ticket. I was fully prepared to stay as long as we got to. But we got her within like an hour.
Right.
And then I had to immediately get a one-way ticket out of Oakland back to Ohio. So immediately. So we got it. We got it in Ohio. That's when the divorce happened.
How did it get so contentious? You have kids. Y'all been together 2 decades. Mm-hmm. How did it become so contentious if this was something you both knew that needed to happen, both wanted it to happen? Was it because you beat her to the punch? Or what was there? Was there infidelity on somebody's part?
Oh, yeah, mine. I'm not going to lie about it now. Yeah.
But you lied about it then. Because did she ask
I got caught a couple times. It's not like I never got caught.
Okay.
I wasn't that great at it. You know what I mean? And you got to realize, like, we was together 23 years, married 17.
Wow.
You know, she knows all my good points and bad points.
Right.
I know all hers.
Right.
So I left 3 times during the marriage. And the others nobody knew. And I always came back for the kids. Like, I didn't want nobody else raising my kids and everything. So, I mean, the first time I left out, man, I took the kids with me. We drove from LA we was living in LA at the time, to Dallas. And we just got in an argument at Chipotle. Of all places, Chipotle. Damn. We got a knockdown drag. I said, I'm out. So I had the kids with me. We take off. I'll never forget. We drove this was 2004. This was the night, I'll never forget. It was the night the Roy Jones, Antonio Tarver fight. When Roy got knocked out.
Yeah.
And then I'll never forget. I wanted to see, and that was, I'm not gonna say what the argument was over, but it was over that fight. I wanted to go see the fight, and she didn't
want you to go.
She didn't want me to go, but she wanted me to put the kids in daycare. It was so minor looking back on it.
Right.
And I go, I'm not gonna take him to daycare. Daycare closes at 6. I'll be back at 5:30.
Right.
Then I'm gonna go over to Reggie's house and watch the fight. And she goes, no, just take him to daycare. The whole argument was basically over 30 minutes. That I'll keep the kids all day, but just be home at 5:30. And then she goes, no, I don't know if I'll be home by then. So that was the argument, basically.
Wow.
So I got so just done. I was like, I'm out. My kids are both in diapers. I take off. I don't even know where I'm going. I just started driving. I got to Palm Springs. I stopped at like a Walmart and got diapers and toys for them. And then I got to Phoenix. We stayed all night in Phoenix. I got up next day, called a friend of mine in Dallas. I said, look, I'm out. Can I come over to your house?
Right.
And I remember she was like, where are you at? I was like, Phoenix. I'm in the car. And then we drove the next day. I'll never forget. We got somewhere in Texas. We got to Texas. I didn't realize how big Texas is.
Yeah.
I got to El Paso. I'm thinking I'm almost in Dallas. I know that's a whole nother day going,
Yes.
right? I remember at one point we stopped at some seedy gas station like you're in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And my son I don't think he was in diapers. No, he wasn't. My daughter was in diapers. He wasn't. But he's peeing like next to this abandoned gas station on this dirt road. And we had one of the big excursions at the time. I got the back. I'm changing my daughter in the back. I see this car coming on the road. I go, wait a minute. If this car stops and something's wrong, we're done.
Right.
I was telling my son, I was like, Austin, get over here. He's running this little fucking thing. He's trying to pull up his underwear. I said, come on. I'm holding my daughter. Right. We took off. And I don't know if anything's going to happen or not. But
did she call the cops or something, say you had taken the kids? I mean.
No, no. She didn't call the cops. Okay. She was, I called her, I left Saturday, and then I called her Monday morning. And I just said, look, I'm sick of arguing, things like that. And then she flew out to Dallas, and she stayed for like a day, like a week. And then we end up reconciling. Yeah. But then she flew back with the kids, and I had to drive back by myself because I took the excursion.
You do realize this is not normal, that when someone takes the kids and they don't make contact with the other parent for 2 days and the other parent don't reach out, you know that's not normal, Gary.
No, she was trying to reach out.
But you just wouldn't return the call.
Well, no, I wasn't. I tried to go with an excuse. I messed that one up. Like, I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect in all this. Right. And it's so random because, the divorce is like weird. Like, somebody has to be the bad guy.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I became the bad guy in the middle of this divorce.
Right.
And for the longest time, I didn't say anything. But I think now, like, I'm so emotionally unattached to
that
her
situation.
now. So now I feel like, yeah, I can talk about it. What could go wrong on Club Shay Shay?
How much?
What could go wrong here? Because she gonna respond, bro. Believe me, this is coming.
Let me ask you a question. How much do you think that this divorce has to do with the pent up that she forgave you several times for your indiscretions? And she's like, I forgave you, I forgave you, I forgave you. And here you blindside me with this divorce.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying I did everything right.
Right.
At all. I'm not innocent here.
Right.
But I'm not ever gonna, I think she knows all my indiscretions. I know hers. So I don't think it's gonna do anybody good for me to like try to trash her.
Right.
And talk
No.
Talk about things she did. But no, neither of us was perfect in the marriage.
Right.
Like, we can go into a litany of reasons.
Right.
So I'm just like, I guess she just felt the need
Right.
to bring up all, and the bad part was like, yeah, there was infidelity, but she kept getting all the girls wrong. I was like, I didn't sleep with Claudia Jordan or her friend. I was like, I didn't do that. I kept looking like, that's all wrong.
Right.
That wasn't her. It was Jennifer Jordan. I'm kidding.
She wanted $44,000 a month. The kids are grown. Whoa. The kids are grown now, right?
Yeah.
The kids are grown.
Yeah.
She wanted $44,000 a month.
Yeah.
And you like, oh, hell no.
Yeah. What do you think I said? It did make me look like a baller, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, you're like, okay.
I love it. Like, Gary got cake like that. I like bakery. Yeah, that was a hell of a number.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you think like, did you ask your lawyer, how did she arrive at that number? That number. I mean, who she think? I mean,
That's a lot, and it's tax free.
yes.
Almost tax free.
Absolutely.
So do the math on that. $44,000 a month times 12. That's a $500,000.
Yeah.
That's like $900,000 if you think about it with
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And just think about the time in which she's going to get that.
Right. That part.
That's what you were thinking too.
That
like.
part. That part. That was a lot. Yeah, I was like, here's the thing too. Like, it's funny. Like, I took on all the debt with the divorce too.
Yeah.
Like you got debt.
Yeah.
I took all of it, and it was a lot. I took all of it. And I said, "No, I got it. I got it. Don't worry about it." So I was like, I didn't like getting dragged, saying like I'm a deadbeat dad. And then it was like I left everybody hanging.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the case. Like, I got the text. Like, I literally said, "Hey, send me the bills. I got it." And she was like, "No, that's not how we do things." So I was like, "Well, I don't know what you want me to do here."
Right.
I said, I'm paying off all this debt we got. And I'm like, the big thing was the house. She wanted to stay in the house. I go, we got to sell the house.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
And I took,
You can stay in it, but you got to pay the note on it.
well, it was more than that. I'm not going to get into it, but there was some other stuff going on.
Okay.
There was taxes involved.
Right.
IRS involved.
Right, okay.
So I was like, we got to sell it. We got to pay these dudes off.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I made sure, I made sure when everything was said and done and we went to mediation, I was like, I'll take on the debt. I'll make sure you got enough alimony that you're good. You're really good, by the way. And I was like, I'll pay your first year of rent when you get a new place. And we put a number on it. And it was a lot. This ain't like $800 a month.
Right.
It was a lot.
Right.
So I was like, I got you. I'm just trying to make sure.
At this point in time, you trying to keep the peace.
All I do is keep the peace, and I want everybody to be comfortable.
Right.
Listen, I'm not vindictive. I'm not mad. I get it's love and war, but I feel like I was very generous
Right.
in the divorce,
Looking at it, I could be wrong. You didn't have a prenup.
Hey, no, we didn't have a prenup. No.
Why didn't you? Because you were already a comedian. You was already even if you was making $50 a show, you was already making money. Don't you want to, like, if I come into a situation, this is the way I look at it. And I tell my homeboys there, I ask them, do they have a prenup? They say, no. They say, I ain't got no money. I say, when I leave, I want all of my nothing. I don't want 50% of my nothing. So Gary, you already, let's just say for the sake of argument, when you started, you making $200 a show.
Yeah.
You're doing 3-4 shows a week. That's $800. like you said, multiply that times a month, times a year, times 12.
Yeah.
Why would you not?
Stupid. What do you want me to say? Stupid.
That's what love would do.
Dumb on my part.
Or would you get married again?
Yeah. Not in California.
Would you have a prenup?
Without question, it's going to be prenup. And there's no argument there, because anytime you do a prenup, it's like the man's point of view is yours.
Yes.
And the woman's point of view is, well, it's like you're setting us up to break up.
No.
Now, like, and the man's point of view is like, prove to me you really love me.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So yeah, the prenup is a required thing now.
Yeah.
You learn over time.
Yeah. I don't get insurance on my car to go rear end or T-bone somebody.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have if you do.
You ain't lying about that.
You did a reality show. Do you regret doing that show and bringing people into your lives?
No, that was fun. That was fun. And now, the state I'm at with my kids is like, I have a timestamp. I can always go back and watch that stage of their life. And, you know, because we got footage of them at 15, 14 years old. You know what I mean? So I don't regret that at all. And then, you know, everybody got paid. My kids got a trust out of it that we put their money away so they can have it later on. So everything, I don't regret it at all.
It worked out.
I thought, it would have been nice to have more seasons.
Right.
But it was cool. I don't regret it at all.
Vow renewals, do they work?
Because you saw we had one.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
Your research team is something special.
Do they work? And why do they do? Is that a man's thing or is that a woman thing? Is that something jointly? Who wanted to say, let's renew our vows?
Well, our wedding was jacked up.
Oh, okay, tell us what happened at the wedding.
So we got married at if anybody knows Oakland, the first AME in Oakland, it's a black church, right? So, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into my upbringing eventually. So, first of all, we get to the wedding and I'm worried because my stepdad and my real dad don't get along. Oh. And I'm sweating this, right?
Right.
And I'm going, I had a bad feeling the whole time.
Uh-oh.
We get to the wedding. First of all, preacher walked out. He was like, I don't do weddings, don't start on time. So the wedding's supposed to start at 3. I guess it was like 3:30.
Yeah.
He just left. When he say I left, I might not be married. I got to check into that. So her like cousin Melvin worked at UPS. I guess he's ordained. He did it. He did the wedding.
So hold on. The official pastor that was supposed to preside over the ceremony.
Yeah.
Because you were late, he's like, I'm up out of here, deuces.
I wasn't late. You know I wasn't late. Was John Elway ever late to practice? No, he wasn't. Okay. I bet you Steve Atwater was.
So somebody showed up late. 30 minutes late.
Obviously, the woman shows up late. But obviously, you know that, though.
But you know it takes them a little longer, though.
Yeah, of course. Nobody's mad about that. But
clearly the pastor
he left. He was double booked. He had another wedding.
Oh,
clearly the other wedding probably paid
a little bit more. Yeah.
He leaves. So I'm like, all right, we get through that. Not a big deal. Then we get to the reception. Bakery drops our cake. We got a 5-tier cake. The lady, I guess, slipped. Beep. That bitch went down. So, you know, the bride and groom get announced.
Yeah.
We sitting behind his door for like 45 minutes. I'm like, what is going on? I don't realize everybody cleaned up the cake on the reception floor. They said she dipped it right in front of the wedding table.
Oh, my goodness.
So it just went out. So then we're getting ready to do the bouquet and the garter.
Okay.
And the bar was in the other room. I grabbed my brother Dallas. I said, let's go have a drink real quick. So we in there just having a drink. And then I hear, there's a fight. And I went, I already knew what it was. I go out there. My stepdad's getting dragged out. My biological dad's doing this. And I was like, what happened? And they was like, they got in a fight. Like, not a fight, but my stepdad sucker punched my real dad at the wedding, right? So then finally, the next day, I see my stepdad. I was like, well, what happened? Because the reception was basically over at that point, right? He goes, he looked at me funny. I said, what? I said, he didn't say nothing? He goes, no, he looked at me funny. I was like, you hit him because he looked at you? He goes, no, it wasn't a normal face. It wasn't a normal face. He looked at me like, I wasn't around when Gary's growing up. I f***ed your wife before you and something else. He goes, and I'm still at the wedding. Ha, ha, ha. I said, damn, he said all that in the face? I said, that's a hell of a face. I ain't never seen a face like that. What's the face? Face that. So That's really why we wanted the vow renewal when we did it on the reality show. Cause I always felt like she didn't get the wedding that she wanted. So when BET came with the reality show, we was like, well, let's do, the pilot was the vow renewal. It ended up being the last episode, but that was the pilot. And so, yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
Did you think after everything that transpired that you would make it 17 years?
Nah.
Yeah, bro.
And
Bro,
the entertainment business too.
Yeah, you kind of doomed from the start.
Well, I was doomed for various reasons. If I'm self-analyzing myself and not to put blame on everybody else, shouts out to Amanda and Monique. Sorry, couldn't help myself. That was too easy.
Oh, man.
That was too easy, bro. No, that's too easy. I'm sorry. Comedians, listen, if you're a comedian, you get offended by stuff you say, you in the wrong line of work. You know, you set yourself up. But anyways, I wasn't equipped.
Yeah.
And I got married, honestly looking back, I just wasn't equipped. A terrible upbringing. Didn't know how to like tell myself I'm enough. And at the same time, going through all this self-evaluation, I meet my ex, and then now I'm like, oh, okay, I could probably be a decent dad. I could probably do this. And then I get on BET. I'm starting to get attention now from women that I never got before. So now you're in rooms, you're in situations, and women are coming at you, and I'm in my 20s. It's a little different.
Just say no.
Huh?
Just say, you remember that phrase? You old enough to remember that phrase, just say no?
Just say no to them tossing your salad. Pause. No Diddy. Again. Sorry. Going too far. I'm going too far. Sorry about that. It's the liquor.
That's what it is. But the social media aspect of it. Because, a part of you wants to defend yourself, but then you just add fuel to the fire.
That's all you do.
If you do.
Yeah.
But how hard was it for you? Because she was
coming.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, she was coming. Yeah. I just shut up. Because I was like, I didn't want to get on social media until somebody got served.
Right.
Because I'm thinking she's like Inspector Gadget. I was like, she was knowing stuff. I was like, how does she know this? So I was like, I just stayed on social media. I just got quiet. And this is when I knew social media isn't real life. And I think with my ex, she really reads the comments and takes them to heart when I don't.
Right.
And she does. And I would always tell her, like, don't read the comments on social media. It's just adding fuel to the fire. So I think with her, it helped her because people were like, I'm on your side, Gary. Ain't.
Right.
It also hurt her because then when people try to come at her, she's trying to defend herself.
Right.
So as far as like social media goes, I just stayed quiet. I'll never forget I was in Baltimore after I had been in the hotel for like 5 days at this point, right? Before my first show, after everything hit the fan, I got nothing to do but read social media. So I'm sitting there, I ain't I'm a cheater, I'm all this. I'm like, all right. I get on stage in Baltimore. Huh?
Part of that true though.
Yeah. I'm not saying it ain't. I'm not saying it ain't. But, I'm about 45 minutes into my set in Baltimore, and this lady in the back goes, I love you, little cheat. And I was like, you don't know how bad I need to hear that right now. Because I'm thinking I'm going to go on stage, I'm about to get booed.
Right.
Because I'm reading this shit for 5 days.
Right.
I'm thinking, they about to hate me. Social media had me thinking, I'm not invited to cookouts.
Right.
Black people hate me.
Nah.
Don't leave. And then I get on stage, it's like, I love you, little cheat. I told that lady, I said, you don't know how bad I need to hear that right now.
Right.
So.
But to hear that you're a deadbeat, what's your relationship with your kids right now?
I don't have one. It's been three and a half years.
Really?
Yeah.
How hard is that for you?
What do you think? It's a nightmare. It's like they're my greatest accomplishments and my greatest failure at the same time. Because my daughter graduated summa cum laude from her school, she's going to grad school, doing her thing. My son's working with kids, and to hear how they talk about him, they love him. He's patient. I haven't seen him. So back in November, I was back in the Bay where he lives. So I went to his job just to lay eyes on him because I hadn't seen him in so long. So I didn't tell him I was coming. I fell back. I blended in with the other parents, and then because he's working with kids, and then I just got to see him amongst in his element. And so I went on my podcast and I said, yeah, I got to see my son. It was nice. And I said, I'm proud of him. It's doing good, And And I had a part in that. And then our oldest, we don't ever say step, but our oldest, he's living back in Ohio, got a house, got a girl, just working, doing his thing. So as far as like success, I have 3 kids, never got a phone call ever when they was in school, there was a problem. Never had a problem meeting friends. They were never out wilding. So we did our job as parents. But to see how it's just crashed and burned since the divorce, and this is all since the divorce.
Do you believe she played a role in the divide with your kids?
I'll say, I'll take the blame because I didn't ensure that my relationship with them was so strong that no matter what anybody said to them, they could be like, nah, my dad's good. So, I was gone a lot.
Right.
I'm on the road.
Right.
And that's part of the deal. But I really don't know. I don't want to throw stones and stuff I
Without
don't
knowing.
know. I don't know if she's at the house saying your dad ain't shit. I don't know. I mean, I do know blasting me on social media didn't help. And then other shit happened we'll get into in a little bit where my real dad didn't help.
Right.
There's other things. But it was just like, I just don't know where it got so bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? That I'm just literally the worst human being on the planet. And it's funny, I ran into my ex last week. We was on a plane. I'm on a plane from Atlanta to Cincinnati.
Come on, Gary.
I ain't got no reason to lie now. I just said I cheated. That's been the freaking elephant in the room. So I got nothing to hide anymore. So I'm sitting there and I sit on the plane. I go, ain't no way this is happening. Ain't no way this is happening.
That's what I'm saying.
I went like, I was in the window like.
You like a kid. You like a kid looking out the window.
Yeah, that's my bag. So she didn't see me when she got on the plane. We go to baggage claim. She sees me. She comes up. We start talking, and that's when I was like, I said, I'm just kind of asking her like, how do we get this right with the kids? And then I keep telling her like, look, when they call, I'm there. I don't care if I got to show them, cancel it. The minute they say, Dad, I'm ready to talk, I'm out.
Right.
I'll go to where they're at. So when I talked to her about the kids, I told her, I said, I wish you would
Help
just
facilitate
say it's time. It's time. Because they do listen to you.
Yes.
Enough. There's no abuse here. There's no mental abuse. There's no physical abuse. They had a great childhood.
Yes.
Great. Private school. Paid for my daughter's college. I mean, just stuff you're supposed to do if you have it as a dad.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I don't know how I became this evil human being that they want nothing to do with. I was like, I'm not perfect. I read somewhere that somebody said, when you go through the divorce, when kids are little, they idolize their dad. And then when divorce happens, they demonize them. And then as time goes by, they humanize them. Clearly, I'm in the demon stage right now. But it's just been so long that I got to sneak around to try to just lay eyes on them. Like when the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, right? I got tickets. So I texted both of them because when I call, they won't answer. So I got a text. And sometimes they respond, sometimes they don't. So I was like, I got tickets. I got 4. You guys want to go? And they was both like, no. So I was like, dang. And then
that's it. Just no, not love with Dad. I had other plans. I got other arrangements.
I ain't gonna say what they said, but it wasn't pretty. And then I said I flew to Greensboro, where my daughter was in school, and knocked on her door, and she wouldn't answer the door. And then my ex ended up calling and was like, my road manager was with me. She didn't know he was with me. She called my road manager and she was like, "Why is he at the door? Why is he at the door?"
So she's looking at the door to see.
No, my daughter called.
That's what
her.
I'm saying.
So she's like, why is he at the door?
Yes.
And he's like, he's just trying to see her. She goes, no, it's not time. She's not ready. She said, write a letter and put it in the mail. I go, what?
People still write letters?
This ain't 1985.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that happened. Then I found out she was flying. I found out one of her flights one time. I ran into her at the airport and I was like, I kept my distance. I didn't run up on her. And I waved and she waved back. And I was like, oh, want to have a shot here? And then she dipped in the bathroom. And at 45 minutes, I waited and she never came out. And I just went, so I left. And then when I went to her graduation, they made it very clear, don't come up, don't talk to her, don't approach her, or nothing like that. I was like, so I don't know how At this point, I don't know how to reconcile the relationship. I'm just letting them know that I love them. I'm proud of them. And whenever they call, I don't care where I'm at. I'm there. I've told them, I said, you know, you want to go to Hawaii? You want to go to Dubai? Where you want to go? Because we can go. We can go somewhere so far away and just sit down and have it out. So I literally don't know what to do at this point.
When you're looking at the relationship that you currently have with your kids, how much of your mind replays the relationship that you had with your biological father?
We didn't really have one growing up. He wasn't around too much. He just kind of popped in and out. So, like I said, I had an absentee father, an abusive stepfather. So that's not good. I didn't know how to be a dad. So like I said, I don't want to trash my ex, because when we first got together, she had a son. And I literally was like, came home one day, I said, I'm gonna break up. And she goes, what do you mean? You just like, I just moved in with her. She was like, you just moved in. I said, I'm scared that your son is gonna look at me like I look at my stepdad, and I'm scared I'm gonna turn into him. And she was like, don't worry about it. She goes, just follow my lead. I'll tell you what to do, and if you're going wrong, and that's all you gotta do. So I think that's what I did for a lot of the relationship. I just kind of did what she said when I was home and didn't like try to rock the boat. But yeah, it scared me. But yeah, my biological dad, he's a bag. God damn, dude. I'm so mad I came out of his nutsack. That.
But hold on. Gary, you're going to have to reconcile because.
With him?
Yes.
Nah, bruh.
Forgiveness is not for him. It's for you. Look how you talking. Your emotions are being held hostage. You're not free.
Free from that.
No. You're not free from your emotions.
Mate, I mean, this is a relationship with my real dad. So, wasn't around a lot growing up, and then he'd pop up every now and then.
Right.
And then, you know, there were countless Sundays you're waiting on him, he doesn't show up.
Right.
And then get older, get on TV, get in a couple movies, all of a sudden he's coming around a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, he's wanting all the perks. Because I always said, like, I always heard people like, be careful, man. You got people out there using you. I never realized it was my dad the whole time. Because I'm blinded, because I'm on the relationship with my dad.
Right.
So during the course of the divorce, at one point, nobody was served yet. I flew home to Cincinnati. I want to go to a Reds game. I got to do something, but I can't sit in the stands. I'm scared I'm going to get served. So I got a rep that works for the Reds. He got a suite for me, not my name. I paid for it. I called my buddy. 5, 6 guys came. We had a good day at the ballpark. Nobody took pictures. Nobody did social media posts. We just hung out. Next morning, 7:17 in the morning, I wake up. I got a voicemail from my dad. He's like, hey, it's your dad, and you don't respect me. And he's just cussing me out, telling me I don't respect him, and said, I'm out of your life. And
Is he intoxicated at this
No,
time?
this is in the morning. This is 7:17 in the morning. Now, he don't drink like that. So I was like, what does he mad? He never said why he was mad. So I get a text about an hour later, and it's like a book. He's like, I heard you came to the Reds game. You didn't invite me. I've come to expect this behavior from you. My other kids keep me in their lives. You don't. I'm going, this is over a Reds game? So I called him. And when I called him, I immediately was like, Dad, I got your voicemail. I got your text. And he goes, yeah, I meant every word of it. I was like, this ain't going to go well. So we started to talk.
Right.
And it's getting heated.
Uh-oh.
Right? And the week before I came home, so I got 2 identical twin sisters. They did like a family photo shoot, and nobody called and invited me. But that's normal with that side, right?
Okay.
So because I wasn't in the house with them. My sister's so much younger than me. So I wasn't tripping, but I was like, it would have been cool if someone would have called, but I wasn't tripping. So in the course of him cussing me out over a Reds game, I said, Dad, you took family pictures and didn't even invite me.
Right.
And he goes, oh, I knew this was coming. Here comes this. That's the only time I snapped. I said, fuck you, fuck your wife, family, homie, and hung up on him. And that's the last conversation we had. Then let me tell you what he did. He started calling my ex that he wanted nothing to do with, been on my side during the divorce, started giving all his dirt on me. All his dirt. And he's posting it on his Facebook page. Posting about me on his face. Then he posted a picture of my ex-wife on his Facebook page and was like, I got you back to this divorce. He's always been like a daughter to me. He don't even like black people. He's a Trump thumper. Not Trump supporter, Trump thumper. I ain't saying he went to the Capitol. He was at the monument when they rushed it. He made the trip. But now he wants to support a black woman.
I will say this, and I'll leave it alone, and it's the same applies for your kids. There can never be freedom without forgiveness.
Forgive them.
Your kids are not free either. They're going to come a time. They will, I promise you.
Was I wrong?
No, you wasn't wrong. But just because you weren't wrong in that instant, that doesn't mean you can't make it right.
How do you make it right then?
Maybe it's going to take time.
You think?
I think so. But here's the thing. I think he has this perception of you, like you said, because once you became someone, he could extrapolate something from you. You have this, and rightfully so, him bouncing in and out of your life, never being there, being the father that you wanted. Little do you know, you became that guy, even though that was your occupation.
Came what guy?
Wasn't there because you're on the road so much with your kids.
Right.
And they look at you the same way you look at your father.
Interesting.
That's how they're looking at you.
But it was so, I think
He was there like you said, you put him through private school, you paid for college. Those are the sacrifices that you have to make sometimes that you miss out on.
But I did, listen, I never missed a birthday. I never missed a game. I made sure, like, there was times, man, if they had a game, and I'm not flying private, I'm flying commercial.
Yeah.
I'm getting up in the morning, and sometimes driving to an airport that had a hub. So I'm driving like 2-3 hours to get to an airport so I can get a direct flight to get to Cincinnati so I can make the game and then get back to my show that night. I go, because I know what it's like to look in the stands and not see your dad.
Right.
I know what it's like to have like a recital and not see your dad. So I didn't miss stuff like that. Like, so to say like I did everything in my power not to become him, to hear like they think of me like that was my biggest fear, having kids.
Right.
Is to feel how I feel about my dad and my stepdad, and we ain't gotten to that yet. That is my biggest fear.
Right.
So to have it play out like this, it was my worst nightmare.
Help me understand. I want to see if this is true, because I read this. Your former show opener told your wife about some of the indiscretions you were having on the road.
Yep. That
Really?
in my life.
Really, G?
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, I get why Kevin keeps the Plastic Cup boys. I get why Cat keeps people around him. And I'm not talking about to hide secrets like cheating. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about those dudes you got to trust because you're with them more than your family half the time.
Absolutely.
You got to get along with them. You got to be able to open up to them. Like, I'm having issues at the house. Those are like your therapists on the road. So this dude that I fired in 2018, when my divorce happened, is the fact that he called her and they started talking and he started telling her dirt about me. I was like, because we's in mediation. This is like out of a movie. We in mediation. And she goes, yeah, I know. Look, Gary, I know about the girls. I ain't mad about that. And then she started naming off these girls, and some were right and some were wrong. But there's one in particular, I went, wait a minute. I didn't move it. She said, I know about this. So I'm making up a name. I know about Sally. I'm going with the white name because you know it ain't true. Yeah. She said, I know about Sally. She goes, this dude, he told me you fired him because you found out he slept with her. And I went, so here I am. I'm just making movements at this point. I go, because I'm like, wait a minute. So now it's hitting me. Wow. She found out about this girl that is like, I'm talking, this was years ago.
Right.
I'm going through my Rolodex even when she said the name, I'm like, oh my God, what? And then she goes, yeah, he said you fired him because you found out he slept with her too. So now I'm sitting like, wait a minute. She knows I slept with this girl and I didn't know my opener slept with her too. So I go, wait a minute, this motherfucker behind my back.
Right.
This will tell you, you get killed in The Sopranos for that. Right. So I was like, oh. Yeah, so I'm not even gonna say his name. He don't deserve it.
And you know it had to be, he had to have told, because at the time she didn't bring it up. She didn't mention anything about it. So she couldn't have known.
He was the only one that knew there was some information only he and I knew.
Right.
So I was like, But that's why he's at where he's at in his career right now. You can find him at a coffee shop near you.
Is it hard being on the road? And a lot of times you travel alone and women, like you said, they come up, hey, man, that's Gary. Oh, he great. He been in the movies, yada, yada, yada. And you're like, well, it is your boy G. What's up? What it do?
Yeah.
Does that get hard?
When you say hard.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. What gets hard? It does.
Does it get hard to say no?
It does. Yeah, it's not the easiest thing, especially when you grew up like I did, where I didn't have attention.
Right.
I didn't have nobody telling me I'm great.
Right.
So to get people like they like me, and then
damn the reasons.
Yeah, you're like, whoa, I never got attention like this.
Right.
And that's yeah. So it's I would tell people it's similar to ball players and stuff. I was like, yo, I would tell women never get married to anybody in their 20s. In the entertainment or athlete or anything. I go, they got to get out of their system. You got to let them get out of their system. It's just too much access to things. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's easier the older you get.
Right.
But man, your 20s?
Yeah.
That's hard.
How's dating now?
Great.
So how do you meet?
This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep everything off social media because the way it played out.
Right.
Because I'm seeing somebody, but I don't want to blast it like that.
Right.
Because the internet's not good for a relationship. And, until I'm right with my kids, I ain't posting nothing else. Because I feel like that's almost thrown in their face a little bit. So I want to be right with them, and then maybe I'll be open to sharing my personal
Is she okay with that? Because a lot of times women want to be posted like, hey, you hiding me because you don't want nobody else to see, but you're doing this for another reason, a very good reason.
Yeah.
Is she okay with this?
She's okay. Yeah, I don't think she's tripping. She'll bring it up every now and then, but it's not like she's harping on it. She gets it.
Right.
She gets it.
There's this thing that's going around. What's an ideal first date? Is it 50-50? You take care of everything. You got to go to a restaurant that, even if you get the most minor thing, it's going to be $250, $300. What's an ideal first date, Gary?
Just. I mean, that's a guy.
Off the top. Off the top.
You said ideal. That don't cost no money. That's what you want at the end of the date. The ideal first date for a man is G-Jug. That's it.
Okay. How much
we can eat after?
Yeah. How much should a first date cost? If you go out to eat, you take a lady out for a first date, how much should it cost?
And it depends on how much you make. If you only make a certain amount of money, you can't take her to Prime 112 or Mastro's.
Right.
It's just not in the budget.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think women have expectations, and it is depending on how much that man makes and the status. There's a level of expectation and what they're used to dating.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's a loaded question.
Right.
So I don't know. Just that's good. A woman's got a different answer, but a guy's ideal first date.
Right. Were you always attracted to black women?
Always. It's like being gay. Gay guys know they're gay. Why are they gay? They don't know why they're gay. They're just gay.
Right.
Same way. Always liked them from birth.
So how was it growing up where you grew up?
Lonely. My hands were soft and very moisturized. Tell you that. I was a beast. I was ambidextrous on that.
So let me ask you this. So when you were first approached a black lady, female woman, we got to be careful what we say here. Some people don't like being called female. They don't like called women. When you're approached a black woman, what did she say?
Which one? The first black girl that approached me?
The very first one.
Let me see.
Were you nervous?
You talking about the first time I slept with a black girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. Because I was in D.C., I was stationed there, I was in the Navy, and I just remember we went over her place, and I never seen hips move like that, bro. Like she was on swivel. In my hands, I was like, oh my God, how are you moving so fast? I was very inquisitive. I like to ask questions. But it was so dope, because when we got done, it was so random the things you remember. So when we got done, it was just like, she went and got some orange juice. Remember she brought me some orange juice?
Yeah.
You want some orange juice? I was like this. Oh my God. I felt like the guy in Harlem Nights. Yeah, come on, come home.
I've never come home.
Yeah. That was wild. That was a wild night.
And that from that point on.
But I knew it. I knew before that.
Right.
I knew I liked black women. It's just, I don't know. I just like
Have you ever been with a white woman?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 96. Yeah, met her at TGI Fridays. And she only messed with black dudes. And we're still friends to this day.
How you pull that off?
She's at the Fridays had happy hour.
Yes.
And she was sitting there, but she had the haircut. The white girls like black guy haircut.
Yeah.
It's like an asymmetrical bob. Mm-hmm. You know it. Mm-hmm. Just go to any summer jam.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You'll see them at the Atlanta Hawks game. You ain't gonna see them at the Utah Jazz game. So we started talking, and then I do this in my act. I don't want to start doing bits on your show. But long story short, only reason she came back to my place was to prove that I could handle a white girl.
Right.
And the only reason I let her come back, I want to prove she ain't ready for this white dude. And so it was cool. It was a good experience. But when I say there was no foreplay, there was no emotions involved. It was like bing, 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 and like, all right. And then we did it. She never been with a white dude. I never been with a white girl. So we tried it.
And so now you guys, have you ever seen?
She found me on Facebook years later. Got 2 mixed kids. I knew it. I knew she only liked black dudes. Because this is like my early 20s, right? So I was like, I knew it. We're still friends to this day. Like, not friends, but I mean acquaintances on Facebook. She got a hold of me on Facebook like when Facebook was just friends. There wasn't a fan page.
Right.
So it's funny because, we type every now and then and say what's up. She's cool.
How did your family react when they found out you like black women?
Like, I ain't cool with them like that. So I won't.
Mom either?
I don't talk to my mom either. Nobody.
No, your dad, your mom, brother, sister.
I know I sound like Amanda Seales right now. Everybody hates me. But, sorry. And I don't know, man. I don't want to bag her like that, but it's whatever. Yeah, mom's different though. Like, I feel bad for my mom. She's just been beat down by life. And I've told her numerous times, like, I could help you, I can get you out of this, but you just gotta leave that dude, my stepdad, and she won't leave him. So last time I saw my mom was May 20th, 2021, because my brother died. My brother died May 20th, 2015 of a heroin overdose. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't know, how do I start this conversation? Because I gotta talk about my brother to get to my mom.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I didn't know my brother was doing heroin.
Okay.
So this is how life works. Like the universe, man, it picks you up and then it humbles you at the same time. So I'm coming off Think Like a Man. I'm starting to sell a lot of tickets now. So I'm making more money than I ever had. Mm-hmm. And career's really starting to take off. And then Ride Along comes out. So now in the course of like a year and a half, I'm in 2 #1 movies in the country. Mm. And Ride Along didn't have a big scene, but I had a scene that stuck out, So life's good. My brother calls me. First, he messaged me on Facebook because he never had a cell phone. I didn't know because drug addicts not good with money. I don't know if you knew that. So he calls me. First, he messaged me on Facebook. He goes, Gary, I'm about to call you from this number. It's my girlfriend's number. I was like, okay. He goes, I need your help. And I said, let me guess, money? And I remember he texted me. He goes, I'll punch in your. I'll never ask you for a dime. And I was like, what is the problem here? So I called him. He's crying on the phone. I don't know. He's about to shoot up. Mm-hmm. He can't stop himself. So he's like, I don't want to lose my daughter. He's crying. I don't know what's going on. He's like, Gary, I don't want to die. I got this little girl. I can't stop myself. Mm-hmm. And then the phone goes dead. And I go, I don't know what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. I call right back. His girlfriend answers. And she goes, he just shot up. So I could hear my brother moaning in the background. So I was like, what do you mean shut up? She goes, he's heroin. I was like, what? So everything's like going nuts right now in my brain. So she goes, I don't know what to do. She goes, he's an addict, and I'm like, so I said, okay, I'm gonna call my mom and then I'm gonna have her come over and get him and I'll call you right back. So I called my mom, I said, go get Dallas. He didn't overdose, he just shot up, basically. So she's all right, she runs over there. And I'm on Google now looking up heroin and rehab facilities and I don't know what to do. This is all within the course of like 5 minutes. And shouts out to my ex, because I don't want to act like she's just a terrible person. She was right there with me. She was right there looking on her computer. I'm looking on mine. And then we found a place called the Quest House in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And it was like $4,100 to get them in there for like 2 months or something like that. And so I said, all right, I called the Quest House. They was like, because, heroin's a morning drug. You don't do it at night.
Right.
You do it to wake up.
Right.
So this is all going on in the morning. So I called them. I said, I'm going to get the information. My ex runs down to the bank, gets a cashier's check, $4,100. My mom picked up Dallas. I met her at her job in the parking lot. I hopped in her car, and we drive him down to Bowling Green, Kentucky from Cincinnati, about 3-4 hour drive. We get him checked in, and he's asleep the whole time. Like, he's not waking up. That's the first time I've ever seen like a drug addict in the midst of literally just out. Mm-hmm. Like this you see on Skid Row.
Right.
That's him in the back seat, right? So it's really my head up, honestly. So then we get him down there. I check him in, and we're not a touchy-feely family like that.
Okay.
So I just remember he gave me the biggest hug, and he was like, thanks, and then we get him checked in, and then he wrote me a couple letters while he was in that meant a lot to me. I still got them, and then he gets out, and I'm calling my mom while he's in. I said, Mom, this is what I said. I got him a sponsor. In Cincinnati, I got him a sponsor. I was like, and we got to get him out of Cincinnati. You can't go back to the same places, people, because you're going to do the same things. So I called my guy in Phoenix. He worked at the comedy club there, and I'm telling him the whole story. And he's, all right, look, we'll get him a job out here. We'll put him in the kitchen. I told my ex, I told my mom, I was like, look, I'm gonna go to Phoenix. I'm gonna stay with him. Got to get him on his feet. Got to get him out of that environment.
Right.
And comedy clubs, I don't know if you know this, but usually most of the managers, it's a matter of attrition. They either start at the door or they're a waitress. They show they're responsible, and then you become management. And it really is, it's
a process.
So I'm thinking, okay, if he can get there, get in the kitchen, working, maybe we'll get to the door. I'm thinking thoughts of grandeur, right? So my mom, she was like, I said, I'm going to take him to Phoenix when he gets out. And she was like, nope. She goes, you cannot take him 2,000 miles away from his daughter. And I said, Mom, do you want a dad 2,000 miles away? You want a dead dad? Because that's the options right now. Mm-hmm. And she just wouldn't do it. So I just fell back. So that was January 2014. He ended up overdosing May 20th, 2015. And in the course of that, I wasn't really talking to my mom because I did this article in BuzzFeed, and they did this thing called the how a white comic is one of the top black acts in the country. That was the article. But in the article, they asked me about my family, and I just said literally, like, my stepdad's an I don't really mess with him. So when that article came out, my mom wasn't really messing with me because I talked bad about her husband. Mm-hmm. So when Dallas died, the family kind of comes back together. We let everything go. Mm-hmm. And I just remember at the funeral, I ended up buying all the food for the funeral. And my stepdad, he never said a good word about me. He said, man, where'd all the food come from? And my mom was like, Gary got it. And I just remember he looked at me, and I thought he was going to say thank you. I thought this would be the first time.
This is the moment. This is the moment. We're going to have a breakthrough moment.
No, he went and just walked away. I said, damn, he can't even say thank you for the food. So then what happens is he's got a daughter now. So the baby mama can't take care of him. She's not doing that great in life. My mom and stepdad, now they want to get custody, and I don't know any of this is happening. Mm-hmm. I get a call from the guardian ad litem, which is somebody that represents the kid in the custody battle. Mm-hmm. And she goes, hi, this is Gary Owen. I said, yeah, that's him. She goes, are you, so I don't want to give my brother's last name. Are you Dallas so-and-so's brother? And I said, yeah. She goes, wow. She goes, I've had like 10 home visits, and there's no pictures of you in the house. I asked your mom, did she have any kids we don't know about? And she just said, yeah, my oldest left home when he was 17. She goes, somebody in our office said, that's Gary Owen's brother. That's his niece. Mm-hmm. So she goes, look, I'm putting in for emergency removal, which means she's not happy with either household. Mm-hmm. I said, what does that mean? She goes, well, she goes into foster care. I said, well, that ain't happening. I said, what we got to do? And she goes, well, I got to do some home visits, but if you want to take temporary custody, that we can do that. And I'm giving you the Cliff's Note version of the conversation. Okay. So she came to my house, and she goes, I feel like this kid hit the lottery with how we were living. Mm-hmm. And then she applied for the emergency removal. and the judge denied it because the judge was like, look, she's not in any physical danger. It's just a bunch of broke people, really. So, but now my name's on the paperwork. I signed and I can't call my mom and be like, they think you're a bad parent. So now my name's on the paperwork. So when they saw the paperwork about this emergency removal, that's when everything hit the fan. My mom started calling me, what is this? I said, Mom, I couldn't tell you. You know what I mean? So then that got a little tense, and I said, Mom, let us take her. Let us take, because like you can't be 70 in your 70s trying to raise a teenager when she gets older. And I knew the home life wasn't the best. I got another brother who was just not a good dude either. He's big. Anyways, so what happened is my mom just kind of cut me off because I wanted to get custody. We were going to go to court, and I told my ex, I was like, we gotta fall back, because I started getting some terrible text messages, and I was like, they're literally about to ruin our life. They're gonna make our life hell, and I gotta look out for my kids. And I felt bad for my niece that I couldn't get custody and everything. I said, but they were about to make our life. Right. On both sides, the baby mama and my mom and stepdad and them, because they were looking at it like I'm taking her away from everybody. I'm trying to help her. Right. I know what this child's about to go through with her upbringing. I lived it. So I was like, so at that point, everything was cut off. And then I was just on the outs. So then fast forward, this is all happening in 2016. May 20th, 2021, for some reason I was back in Cincinnati. I knew it was the day he passed away, so I went to the cemetery to go see him. I pull up, and my mom's at the cemetery. She's at his headstone.
She had a gravesite.
And I saw her, and I parked kind of far away, and I remember she had a blanket, and I don't know if she was wiping the headstone off or touching his face, and she kept looking at me. Then she looked back at the headstone, looking at me. I said, oh, this is got shot here. I can talk to her. So I walked up real slow, and I came up behind her, and she saw me standing there, and all I was gonna do was ask, can I sit next to her? I didn't think we were gonna solve everything right then. So all I said was hi. And she just started yelling. She goes, I don't wanna talk to you. And started screaming a bunch of shit. And I'm just like, I said, Mom.
At the gravesite?
Yeah. It's just me and her. And she started just yelling. And then I said, Mom, I'll leave. I'll come back later. And she goes, no, I'll leave. And then she grabbed her blanket and she goes, and I've been reading everything. She goes, and I hope now you know what it feels like, because the divorce is going on right now. She goes, and I hope now what it feels like when a bunch of people on the internet say a bunch of shit about you that isn't true. And then she was like, this is a really hard day for me. And then she got in her car and sped off. Now I'm sitting here like head spinning, but now I can't spend any time at the cemetery because I'm worried she's going back to tell my stepdad and my other brother Gary's at the gravesite. I thought they was about to come in to pick up guns a-blazing. Right. So I was like, and I mean literally guns a-blazing. So I was like, I had a dip. So that's the last time I talked to her or seen her or anything.
Let me ask you this. How different is dating interracially when you first started doing it?
Do your segue?
You like that?
That's top tier right there. I'm like this, man. Let me ask you this. Dating black women.
Yeah, because I want to hear, because I don't know if I've ever had a guy, white gentleman like yourself, that's dated black women. So I want to, like, because I understand what it was like in the 80s for a black guy trying to date white women and compared to now. Yeah. Is it different now than it was then?
I don't know. I wasn't dating in the 80s. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not that old. But I don't know.
90s.
That's all I ever liked. Like,
really?
I've always been like part of the culture. Yeah. You're going to find me at Magic City. You ain't going to find me.
Cheetah.
I ain't going to be Dollies and cheetahs. Nah. I said Dollies.
Dollies.
Not Follies.
Okay.
Dollies.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to find me at G5. Right. KOD. You know? You're going to find me at Live on Sunday. Not on Saturday during techno night. I'm going
where you feel
where the black people are.
Did you always feel most comfortable around black people?
Yeah, I think I found, like, quote unquote, found your tribe.
Yeah.
I just always felt comfortable. And, you know, the thing is, like, even when I was in the Navy, you know, my bunkmate, his name was Copera Washington. And he was a black guy from South Carolina. And I remember at that time, there was no internet, so you had to get letters from home.
Right.
So I got this big, swole brother from South Carolina as my bunkmate, got a thick country accent, and he gets pictures, and he's like on a John Deere tractor. He's on a farm, and I'm looking, I go, "Were you on vacation here,
Right.
Capera?" He goes, "Nah." He goes,
Right.
"Man, that's where I live." I go,
Right.
"Black people don't live on farms. Midwest, black people live in the city."
Right.
I didn't know black people baled hay,
Oh, yeah.
lived on farms. I go, "Black people live on farms," and he grabbed a black dude from Mississippi, black dude from Georgia, black dude from Arkansas, black from Alabama. He goes, "Come here." He goes, "Gary, what'd you just say?" I go, "Black people don't live on farms." They did like to do the right thing. They go, "This dude." Everybody start busting out these pictures in the country. I go, "What the?" Mind blown.
Right.
Mind blown. I was like, "Oh,
Right.
I am very sheltered as far as this stuff goes." But I can hang out with anybody.
Right.
But I've always been most comfortable. And black people always been the most welcoming to me too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly.
Right.
Like, yeah, my whole life, I don't have issues. The issues I have with, and it could stem from how my stepdad and my dad was, like the white men in my life were not the greatest.
Right.
All the black dudes was cool. My football coach was a black dude. Shouts out to Mel Edwards, one of the coolest guys on the planet. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I just always had, all the black dudes I ever met was cool. I never met like an asshole.
Right.
Or treated me bad, or so to speak. Even the black guys I went to high school with.
Right.
They was cool. We didn't have a lot. We had a couple.
Right.
They was cool.
Is it difficult when you were in your children's life? Was it difficult raising mixed race kids? Did you ever have a conversation with them about what life was going to be like being in mixed race?
I didn't have like deep conversations. My daughter's like the activist. She's the pro black woman.
Okay.
The boys aren't. Like, my two boys, they're not like that. But yeah, my daughter, she's very pro black. Like, she is like, because man, when the Black Lives Matter movement started and you had the parades and marches,
She was there?
yo, I don't know where she got a blowhorn. The thing, she going, yeah, she's yelling. I go, what the fuck?
Right.
And she started talking about white people this. I go, awkward. I'm your dad. They don't care about us. White devils. I was like this, whoa, white devil. No, I don't know if she said that, I'm making that up. But yeah, like, she's the activist. So my thing with her is like, I'm here to listen.
Right.
I just want to, and that's what's most important. Like, I don't have the answers.
Right.
But I want to listen to your side of things. And I'm always going to have your back in situations like that.
Right.
But we didn't have a lot of, trying to think, we didn't have any big racial issues of them growing up. And granted, it's the environment they grew up in. They grew up in a very safe, I don't want to say sheltered environment, but it was like, they didn't have to struggle. So they weren't put in situations where a cop's gonna pull them over.
Remember
They weren't in those neighborhoods.
Right.
You know, in our neighborhood, we knew the cops in our neighborhood. You know, one cop pulled up. I went to high school with him. He knocked on the door. I remember my son was like, "Dad, there's a cop at the door." And I over there, I go, "Mike?" He goes, "Man, they told me you moved in here." He's in the house. Man, we having Pepsis and stuff. I said, "Ain't you got some crime to fight?"
Right.
So,
Do you remember the last meaningful conversation you had with your daughter?
like talking?
Yeah.
Text.
Yeah, no, just a conversation like you and I sitting down now. Like, how was your day at school? You know, how, the dating, whatever the case may be. Do you remember that last conversation?
It was right before she went back to school. So she was a freshman, and God, it's been a long time. She graduated and she was a freshman. Yeah, she was getting ready to go back to Greensboro, and I remember we just sitting in the back talking, just about nothing, life and stuff.
Your son only date white women, correct?
Yeah. Yep. Takes after his mama. Well, I heard she's dating black guys now.
He get it from a mom.
Well, I heard she's dating black dudes now.
Really?
Yeah, she dating. I didn't do my job.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't put it on her so good.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party, because we like to do something before two something.